Ладно, понял. Все хорошо. Ну так же книгу ты не сразу читаешь, ты ее постепенно день за днем, да. Ну это. Так. Ну да. Надо играть такие сильные.
Aerith's death scene in Final Fantasy VII is where it all changed for me. Video gaming was no longer merely a fun distraction from my real life. It now had developed a potential to become a powerful means of storytelling. I would often find myself reloading that end of disc 1 save file to again witness the moment, and I think for many of us 90s gamers, this remains one of the most memorable aspects of our gaming experiences. At least it has for me. I remember Final Fantasy VII becoming a hot topic of conversation at school. Within those conversations, the rumours soon began to spread about how Aerith, or Ares as she was known to us back then, could be saved from death using various hidden gameplay secrets. Of course, as hard as I tried, nothing worked, and eventually I did come to the realisation that her death is intended, it is inevitable, and of course, those contrary rumours were false. Now, over the years, I've come to believe that her death is not only an important part of Final Fantasy VII, but it is also a defining moment in the history of gaming. It's one of the reasons I'm a little nervous about the direction Square are taking the FF7 remake. Will this be an aspect of the story that is deemed sacred to them or not? I don't know, I guess we'll have to find out. However, while Square's choices are serious because they become a matter of canon, as fans, we still have the freedom to just run amok with our crazy ideas, and this is exactly what Sega Chief's New Threat 2.0 gameplay mod allows us to do. The rumours that Aerith could be prevented from dying or somehow resurrected afterwards were not limited to my small group of peers by any means. This was a prevalent thought in the late 90s for Final Fantasy VII gamers the world over. Well, with New Threat 2.0, rumour becomes reality. And I'm not just talking about some sort of dodgy Game Shark implementation of sticking Aerith back into the party while the rest of them potentially isn't their type of situation. New Threat 2.0 does far more than that. First of all, it effectively gives you the simple choice. Do you wish to proceed with the canon path, that is, the permanent death of Ares and the loss of her from your party? If so, you will be rewarded with the powerful ribbon accessory. On the other hand, sacrifice the ribbon, and Ares not only remains a member of your party going forward, but the other members won't simply ignore her either. As always, if you enjoy my Final Fantasy content, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to be notified of future videos. Now, Ares' fate is actually determined in how we proceed in the battle against Unova, but before that we get to experience that famous cutscene, but this time beautifully enhanced with greater detail and frame rate thanks to Satsuki Yatoshi's machine learning mod. Yeah, you know, I do have to say these upscale cutscenes look absolutely incredible, along with these other mods that I've been using. Anyhow, we're going to be getting through to the fight, which is where things do start to take a bit of a drastic change over the original game. Now, the first thing you're going to notice as we enter the battle against Genova here is that Ares is actually present in the encounter. You can see her lying down there just in front of the boss. Now, before we talk further about Ares' presence in this encounter, let me just mention the fact that this boss is no walkover, okay? This is actually my second attempt. The first attempt, I went in blind, not knowing what to expect, of course. I got absolutely destroyed. But a couple of changes, and it's not as bad as it otherwise could be. So, first things first, Genova here has a whopping 40,000 HP, a huge buff over the original variant of this encounter, and on top of that, it's also going to cast a whole host of nasty abilities that you're going to want to heal through. Now, a couple of things to bring with you. First of all, make sure you bring Gravity. Genova is vulnerable to it, and Demi 2, which is the highest version of Gravity I had learned by this point, did, as you can imagine, quite a bit of damage, in fact the bulk of it during the fight. And the other thing you want to bring is Silence, and I'll talk about why in a little while. Fortunately, there's nothing to steal or morph from Genova here, so as soon as the fight begins, you're going to want to start unleashing those Demi 2s or whatever level Demi you happen to have with you. And with one party member spamming those gravity spells, the other two can just be focused on healing and buffing. Trust me, you're going to be needing to do quite a bit of healing in this fight, so I would advise that every party member has access to restore all materia combinations. Now here's where things get interesting. So as you're slogging your way through the encounter, at some point Genova is going to cast, I think it's called Unlife, on Ares and bring her into the battle. But because it's Unlife, Ares is going to be resurrected to do Genova and Sephiroth's bidding, which means she's going to be fighting against you. Not pleasant at all. Now, a couple of things to note. This is where the choice comes in. First of all, you can go ahead and defeat Ares in this fight. That will end her for good, and as I mentioned, you will get the ribbon accessory. Or you can protect her, keeping her alive and focused directly on the boss. And that will mean that if Ares is alive at the end of the encounter, you'll be able to keep her in the party going forwards. Unfortunately, if this fight wasn't awkward enough, just with Genova by itself, Ares does actually make things even more complicated. Not only does she have some pretty nasty abilities of her own that's going to just increase the amount of healing you're going to have to plough through in order to stay alive, but she also likes to buff the boss with various things such as barrier and magic barrier, meaning that damage is going to be reduced significantly. And with a boss that has 40,000 HP, that's not going to be very helpful to us at all. However, this is where Silence comes into its own. If you can successfully cast Silence onto Ares very early on after she's brought into the fight, then that pretty much nullifies all her abilities. All she's left to do then is to attack you with a physical attack using her staff, which doesn't hurt at all. So that's pretty much it. Once you've got Ares nullified with that Silence, she will remain that way throughout the rest of the encounter, and then it is just a case of getting through the boss's huge 40,000 HP, which is reduced significantly with those demi spells. And there we have it. So long as she survives at the end, that's Ares I'm talking about. You've done everything you need to do. You've made the choice to retain her going forward throughout the rest of your adventure. On the other hand, if that ribbon is just too much of a temptation to pass up on, don't forget you will need to defeat Ares before defeating the boss, thus forfeiting any chance that you have of bringing her back into the party. However, that ribbon, you know, it is the very first ribbon you're going to have access to in New Threat 2.0. But assuming you've made the same decision that I have and have chosen to retain Ares as a member of the party, then that's it. There's nothing else we need to do now. So we're going to play out some cutscenes here. Obviously, the cutscene where Ares is released by Cloud into the pond outside is not going to play. But other than that, we're going to be able to continue on with the game as normal. The main difference being is that Ares is going to be present. She's not going to be present in the FMVs, of course, but she is going to be present in other gameplay cutscenes when she's a member of the party. And she's going to have dialogue as well, and the other party members are going to recognise that she's present and accounted for. Now, if you are a big Final Fantasy VII fan and have still not had the pleasure of experiencing New Threat 2.0 for yourself, I would highly encourage that you do check it out. It's a wonderful mod, and bringing Ares back and everything that comes with that is just the tip of the iceberg, really, as to what is offered here in this project. So, big thanks to Sega Chief and all the other mod authors for the various mods that we've used today. And I have done other videos as well, just tutorialising. I'm not sure if that's a real active verb, I've just invented it. But making tutorials showing you guys how to get this set up and running. You will need the PC version, of course, because that is an open system, whereas consoles are not. But yes, thanks so much to everybody that stopped by today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to drop a like and come back soon as we continue on our adventure with Final Fantasy VII New Threat 2.0. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Нет, он все имеет в виду, что наоборот. Ладно, ну это лучше. Да. Да наоборот. Не знаю, смотри сам, что это. Попились, кажется. Ну, что вы хотите, он о себе так думает, потому что наоборот. Ну, это спорный вопрос. Спорный вопрос. Вот это его сам, да. Ну зачем ты музыкант просто, знаешь, музыкант. Мне так кажется тоже, да. Вы как сами считаете? Потому что надо просто делать. Ну, даже если все вместе, все равно ты упрешься во что-то, да. И потом, как бы, деньги откуда возьмешь? Наверное, смотри сам. Вот это он имеет в виду, вот это он как раз, да. То есть вот это вот. Ну и что, музыкант что, денег нет, что ли? Просто удал пока. А вот это он имеет в виду. Понимаю. на себе такой говорится, да. Хорошо, а что такое музыка? Что это такое? Жизнь прошла и все.